It's now time for the #1 podcast at iHeartRadio. It's Your House is Key, the podcast that opens the door to your dream home. Hosted by the remarkable Dannel Shepard, he's your trusted guide in the world of real estate. Whether you're buying your first home, selling your current one, or simply curious about the market, this podcast is your one-stop shop for all things real estate. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host and my good friend, Dannel Shepard.
What's up, guys? It's your favorite realtor, Dannel Shepard, and it's Your House is Key podcast. But today is going to be special because I have a special guest today, Miss Jean, and we're talking about insurance, right?
We are talking about insurance.
So Give us a little background, who you are and what you do.
I am an independent insurance agency. Been doing it for 32 years.
Ooh, 32 years.
And I love what I get to do. I love helping families. To me, that's what I do. It's not really about the sale.
Yeah.
It's about the helping that family that's sitting in front of me be better after our meeting, whether they go with me or not, but they know the language, the words to say to go back to their current carrier and hopefully make them a better insured.
So I have a question. So you could tell me whether or not, or do you want to tell who you work for? Or you just want to talk about what you do?
Oh my
It's
God.
up to you.
Oh, I work for One Digital.
Okay. All right, cool. So now we got that out there. I want to kind of pick your brain because you're the expert.
Okay.
Today. You're the expert. I'm just showing, I always say, I got you. Well, I do have you. I know someone. So when it comes to insurance, what is the biggest misconception people have when it comes to insurance about a house, getting home insurance?
I think the biggest thing I see is people want to look at what the dwelling limit is, what this, that, whatever, and then what's the premium. And the problem with that is there's no coverage. So they may have a policy for $2,000, but have no coverage. And the only reason they know that is when they have a claim, now they're pissed because, So I think that most people don't understand. They don't really understand what they have.
Oh, okay.
They don't have any idea. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you got more, you can, because my next one is really, it may go to where you are. So, what's usually the biggest factor that people overlook? And I think that may have been where you're going to. So when if you see somebody that currently has coverage or new and they want, what is it that they overlook, whether they hearing something from someone else or just have no clue?
I think probably the biggest gap I see is not having an umbrella policy.
Oh, so what's an umbrella policy?
An umbrella is a way to protect your assets, current assets and future assets.
So like not the assets you sit on?
Not
or
the
that
assets.
it's not a CYA?
No, yeah. But maybe it sort of is.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, so you cause an auto accident, and I've got stories. So you caused the auto accident, now you're being sued. So now we got to pay for an attorney. Now, if you don't have that umbrella, that attorney's coming out of your pocket, which is probably the biggest bill ever to protect yourself. So yeah, having an umbrella is pretty inexpensive for $300 a year. Yeah.
So what does the umbrella do now for your home? Does it have any impact on that as well?
It does. So your home has liability. Anywhere you go, your home goes, your liability goes with you. So when you rent a Airbnb, if you accidentally burnt it down, and I guarantee you there may be something in their contract that you would have signed. You didn't read the fine print, but you now need to help rebuild that house. That's your liability. You didn't mean to do it. You accidentally did it. Now, they're going to help with that. So yes, $500,000, if you're staying in a $2 million house, not going to go very far. That's where having the $500,000 liability on the home and then the umbrella on top of that would give you at least 1.5 or.
So I'm going to ask a little bit about the company. So you say you work for One Digital, right?
Yes.
What makes them, because we already know what makes you stand out. So I want to get to what makes the company, the resource, what about them makes them stand out from what you've seen from other companies? What made you choose them?
I think the biggest thing is having the ability to write for many companies, many carriers.
Okay.
So if, as a family comes to me and, I look at the whole situation and then I go look to the carriers. So if somebody has a finished basement, there's a carrier that does hydrostatic pressure.
Wow.
And if you don't have a finished basement, you may not need hydrostatic pressure. So I think it's really looking to the family, and then I get to like kind of pick. So kind of a boutique.
Oh, you
boutique
said
insurance.
But don't back up. Don't try to move
Okay,
fast. You
okay.
said a big hydrostatic pressure.
Oh, yes.
What is that?
Hydrostatic pressure is when the ground gets so wet and there's nowhere for the water to go. It can actually push in any crack and crevice it finds.
Ooh.
So behind like this nice paneling,
Yeah.
we can't see. Is there a crack back there? And so all of a sudden, if the water starts coming in, now we got to figure out, when water comes in, we got to figure out where did it come in from.
Okay.
So,
All right.
we have got a claim, we're turning it in. The adjuster's going to we got to figure out where this is coming from because we got to fix it.
Right.
So again, if it's hydrostatic pressure and you don't have that coverage on your policy, which I won't say the carriers that do, but I won't say the ones that don't either, but
But there's a lot out there.
there's
right?
a lot that don't have it. Yes.
Oh.
There's only 2 that do.
Oh, wow.
And we represent both of them.
See, I told you. See, I think I'll be making this up. I got a lady. Not just do I have a guy, I got a lady. And she's going to make sure you taken care of, especially these finished basements. We're going to check my finished basement when she's done, matter of fact. So, and this is a play on words. Would it be in one digital? Everything is basically online, right? Technology. With that being said, not everything's technology. Sign is a sign that, like, how do you protect them now without so much paperwork? Is it still visits involved? Like, what does a day almost look like for you? Oh, that must have been a deep question. Oh.
So, generally, I like to meet with people in person. So if I'm doing a proposal, I feel like there usually is going to be more than one carrier we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what you have, and then maybe the 2 or 1. It depends on, I don't try to make it too complicated, but I want to talk about the differences. And I think it's harder to do that if you're not in front of the person. At least that's what I find. But I do Zoom meetings, and I do over the phone. So I think that's one of the good things I think COVID, allowed us to do more of. But everything is pretty much paperless.
Oh.
So when we start a policy, everything's done paperless. The policy's issued. You're going to get it through an email. There's portals. Each carrier has their own portal, which you definitely wouldn't want to.
I don't get that huge stack or any of no.
No. Unless you want it. I mean, I have older people that do require or request. They want paper. Like when I say paperless, they look at me like that is like.
That's like cashless almost. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
I need to be able to track what I do.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. So now we about to get into some stories about what you do. Dun, 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 dun. So what's a scenario where someone thought they were covered, but because of gaps in their policies, they weren't?
Can I say company name?
I mean, you talking about you and what you do. Hey, listen, shot fired, bang, bang.
All right. So I had now he's a client of mine, was not a client when it happened. He had water in his basement. We talked water earlier. And he went to turn the claim in with State Farm. And it turned out that he had a 1% deductible. So again, if you have a $500,000 house,
yeah,
and you have a 1% deductible, you have a $5,000 deductible. So think about that. If we're at $1 million, 1%.
Yeah,
So he had no idea. And kind of the other thing that I think is interesting about some of these carriers, they'll start taking away coverages. And you don't know this. They'll send you maybe a little slip of paper, or they'll just pull it off. And really, I feel like there's not a lot of transparency, I don't think. So I think that's the thing is make sure you know what you know and what you have. So I think water and deductible was a big one. There's so many things. I had a carrier or a client who came to me. We sat down. He was with Electric Insurance. Electric got out of the business because they couldn't make a buck. So they decided to, say no more. I quoted him one of my carriers. He opted to go to State Farm. So this is January of last year. He went to State Farm and in July called me and said, Jean, I want to come to you. So what happened was there was a His car was in the shop. It was hit by this older lady who had no insurance.
Oh,
And now he's having State Farm settle the claim, and State Farm is nickel and diming him to death. So out of his pocket, he had to pay $1,500, not just his deductible, but $1,500 more because they didn't want to do the right parts and they wanted to use, all this other extra stuff. So needless to say, he was not a happy camper. So I think those are the kind of things that people get a little riled up about.
oh, wow. Jeez. So you got to know, pay attention to your policy. So are there certain questions you ask? Like, how do you know you're not covered? Like, how do you know those gaps? What do someone ask to make sure that gap is not, especially, and I know auto is a lot too, but like you said, homes are, they're 3, 4, 5 times a car,
Yeah.
So how do you really protect yourself?
I think that generally you go to exclusions and limitations. So those are the two things. If you're going to look in your policy.
Limitations.
Yep. So get your actual original policy when they wrote it the very first time you bought your house. It should be a stack of papers, or if you get it online. And in there, that's what you want to go to first. What are my exclusions? What are my limitations? And that's what I work on eliminating. I don't like to have a limitation. And I definitely don't like exclusions. So what I do is I work on filling those gaps. And then you decide, like maybe you want to go with the higher deductible, but now you know what your out of pocket is.
Right.
So again, but that's where to start is look at what are my exclusions currently? What are my limitations? And then ask the carrier those questions. If I have an auto accident, what do I have to pay out of pocket?
Right.
Are you going to do aftermarket parts? Or do I get original manufactured parts? On my home, if only part of my roof is damaged and the other half is not damaged, are you going to replace my whole roof?
So there are people out there doing half roofs?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
What? But then that's when they tell you, well, your roof doesn't look the same as the other side, right?
Exactly.
And now I'm stuck because you, the same person who did half, don't want to do my other half because you think I did something when you did the first, doing the first. I see. Wow. You talking about double Dutch. Don't know where to get in or get out.
That's right. Yeah.
Man. Wow.
And I think the biggest thing is, I think that's the benefit and beauty of an independent agent having different carriers. If you go to Nationwide, State Farm, Allstate, whoever, yeah. They're direct writers. That's all they can write for. So if something happens and you're not happy with them, that agent really can't help you with something else. Whereas we can, and I think that the biggest thing is find an agent that you trust and know will have your back no matter what happens. So.
Wow. And that's funny that you said that. So we were talking about the gaps, right? And asking, you said exclusions and limitations, right? But say I lived in my house 10, 15, 20, 30 years. We already know that the price and value of a house goes up. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, I could almost guarantee it's not my field, but that's why you're the expert here today. So I take it my policy is going to change. So how often would a homeowner or someone check their policy? Because now my house was worth 300 and it was now 350, 400. My neighbor sold miraculously for 5. Now my house is worth 550. Okay. How often is it based off of years? Is it based off the value? Fill me in with that.
Okay. So what I hear you talking about is market value. So you deal in the market value. I'm worrying about replacement.
Oh, okay.
So and that's where the difference is. If I'm only insuring something, because generally market's lower than my replacement value.
So the cost of today material
Yep.
will be
Yep.
more tomorrow.
Yes.
See, I learned that that's real estate school 101. So you're looking at the value of, again, the material cost to replace the house versus, repair or replicate? Like you want to use...
I want to be able to rebuild it like it was. Yeah.
Actual material, not the new stuff. Okay.
Yep.
So again, how does that look? Like how often? Or do I say, hey, Gene, my house is now worth 500. It used to be worth 300. And that's not a drastic jump. The way the markets go and a couple people sell, prices go up, value go up. So when I see that, then do I call you and say I need to insure more? Like, how do we
I think that's why it's important to every couple of years to sit down with your agent, because you want to have that relooked at. Generally, your policy will every year go up. Your policy will every year go up. It will go up because the dwelling limit's gone up. So if it was 500 and they're doing a 10% increase, now it's going to be 550 at renewal. So that is already, first thing has gone up. The next thing that you're going to see is generally rate is going to increase. Because again, we want all of our carriers to be solid financially, because then they will pay claims.
Oh, I was going to go there.
So that is what, and understand that all rates have to be filed with the state. The Ohio Department of Insurance, or whatever state you're in, has to approve the rate that the carrier is looking for. If they can't justify it, they cannot get it approved.
Wow.
So the issue is, and I can keep this in mind, if a carrier is asking for a rate, they need it. So if your policies are going up, either they were way undercharged before, which is what I see with some, smaller carriers, or, there was so many claims, like in 2023. In 2023, there was some kind of storm across this country over a quarter. It was like a 90-day period, something every single day. And then look at the fires.
Oh yeah.
And look at the storm we had. The storm we just had Sunday night. You know how many claims we had today? I mean, the phone was ringing off the hook. So again, all those things, affect the carriers. And by the way, this is one thing I've had people come to me that were not yet my customers, who had agents tell them, so not carriers I write, say to them, oh, well, the problem is the fires over in California. That's why your rate went up. Baloney. Baloney. That is nothing to do with, yes.
I mean, Michael, you can say this is my podcast. Yeah. If you want to, you can say what you want to say. We want it real on here, so keep going. I'm sorry.
So again, that might be true, but there's no way that what happened in California, they haven't hardly paid out a dime. I mean, they paid out some. They haven't figured that out to get into the books, to get to the rates, to do that. There's no way.
Wow.
So if we were talking next year, maybe next year you could say, because again, all the money that we pay in premiums goes into a pot, and that pot has to pay for the claims.
Right.
And again, ultimately, the carriers need to break even. At least, dollar in, dollar out, at least break even.
Okay.
Ultimately, most carriers, want to have a lot more profitability than that. So,
right.
Again, but when you have carriers, we had carriers that were like $1 in, $1.25 out. So that's where the issue is. So, but keep in mind, the state is not going to allow gouging. They're just not.
Okay.
Because they care about the consumers, but they also care that our carriers are financially solid.
So, wow. Because you mentioned that one, the payout part. In my mind, I'm like, hey, because I feel like I had an instance and was like, you don't even want to, as homeowners get into that feeling of, I've paid so much and now I have an issue. Why won't they pay me? So off script, I just want to know that. What is it? I don't want to say the industry because I want to include, but from what you know, why do homeowners feel that way? Or can you answer that? Like, I don't know if I'm asking it right, but there's always a period where something happens to someone and I've been paying, and now I hate insurance because it's the biggest game, because they won't pay me what I need to get replaced or fixed.
Well, I think part of it, let's talk about that, because part of it is, in the world of insurance, there are people, and it's philosophy, who think that the insurance company's job is to replace your roof. It is not the insurance company's job to replace your roof. It is your job to maintain and take care of your property. That's the first thing. Now, if you get a new roof and now we have a windstorm, they're going to replace your roof.
Okay.
So I think that there's like a little bit misnomer. And it does matter because, there's a New York Times article that just came out, and a friend of mine shared it with me this weekend, and it was about two families that were in the Colorado fires.
Okay.
One had a State Farm policy and one had Safeco. And the Safeco policy holder, they had a check in hand for their contents. Because again, you've lost everything.
Right.
Everything's gone. Now we know we need to build your house, but now you need money to live on.
Correct.
You need money to go buy clothes and all this
day-to-day activity. Yeah.
So Safeco had a check in their hand 7 weeks from the day of the fire. State Farm, it took them a year, and the person had to fight for getting that paid. It shouldn't be that way. This is what some carriers are doing, though, and that's why I get frustrated. So if State Farm insures 50% of the population, I don't know what it is now, but I'm broad brushing it. If they insure 50% of the population, who has the most claims? Well, I'm going to guess State Farm does.
Correct. You got majority of the population.
Yeah. So again, and they're good about, oh gosh, let's nickel and dime somebody. Let's aggravate them enough. At least that's my personal. So, yeah.
That's okay.
So there is, if New York, and I can share it with you. I think I did post it on LinkedIn actually. So, but it's a good article. So thought behind that. So one of the things I would suggest you do is act like you're a guest coming into your own house. Take your video camera on your phone and go into each room. Start the first room you come into, open cabinets and drawers, and just talk through everything. Hey, this was Aunt Molly's something she gave to me. I think it's valued this, or this is something, we did this bar down in the basement and it cost me this much, and this is who did it. I would definitely go through your house and do that so that you hold it in the cloud, it stays there. But if you ever need it, when your house blows away or there is a fire, that you have that proof. It's not just proof, but it helps you and the adjuster figure out, what did you have?
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and that's something you want to obviously think about doing every couple of years, that things change in your house or you move to a new house.
All right. Okay. So I want to jump to it. I'm just going to move some stuff out. So you mentioned storms, you mentioned fires, climate change effects, many different areas. And I guess you kind of answered, but I mean, I did another podcast where I actually told people be prepared because the California fires, because Hurricane Helena, because eventually it will impact you. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying today, but there's a lot of people in Florida now who can't get coverage, won't get coverage because I mean, we're known for it's hurricane capital, and then I don't know if California is the same because of the fires, if they're like, hey, it's hard to get insurance now, but why is it that way? And just explain in more detail how what happens in California is now going to affect me in Ohio or New York, or what happened in Florida is getting me now in Oregon. Why?
Well, let me go back to Florida. So I think people think that it was only because of hurricanes, and that is not really why.
Oh, correct it.
Okay. But that was part of it. So what happened was some lawyer, he decided to pull a homeowner's contract, and he found a loophole. And in his loophole, he was able to get business for his people, for his staff. So he would go to insureds. And again, I'm not in Florida, so I'm going to summarize. He would go to clients who he knew. I can see you have roof damage. I knew you need a new roof. Hey, just sign this piece of paper and we'll take care of everything for you. So what he was doing is, then there was in a way kind of suits that were going against carriers. So a roof claim that might be $25,000 now is $140,000 because of the freaking bills for paying for that attorney firm. So it was shenanigans.
Wow.
That's exactly. And it was shenanigans to the point that the government finally stepped in. Government finally stepped in and they said, okay, as of March 1st, you can no longer do this. So that attorney who started kind of the whole thing, he still had another 200 clients that he took and did from January to March. And needless to say, he's now disbarred. But think of all the money he has in his pocketbook, so he kind of doesn't care.
Wow.
So that is really what happened in Florida. So that is why. And then you got the hurricanes and roofs. So a lot of times in Florida, if your roof's 10 years old, they're saying, no, we're not going to insure you.
Wow.
So
because it's more likely that it's gone.
Yep. Because you're, subject to all that wind. So yes. So, and again, I think there's a way that you can buy back, still get a policy and say, okay, don't cover my roof then. I mean, just again, negotiate, figure out what that looks like. Will the stuff in California affect us? Yeah, it will affect us, but I think it will be down the road. I mean, we in the Midwest have our own share of storms.
One other night.
Between high water, and the amount of rain. I mean, the amount of rain, if it keeps raining, spring showers bring May flowers.
Right.
If April's going to be so wet, we're going to have a lot of basements flooded. And I don't mean flooded, not flooded, but sewers backed up. Or
right.
In the house, hydrostatic pressure, those kinds of things. So, but yes, all of those things will affect us. Will the people in California have a harder time finding insurance? Probably. I think it's going to be, interesting to see it, just how it all plays out. But again, the money goes into a pot. The insurance companies have to break even or they're not going to be in business.
Wow. Insurance game, guys. So if you could say there's a such thing as a hidden gem when it comes to insurance coverage that most people don't think about, what would it be? And it has to be like, oh, this definitely is a lifesaver. What would that gem be?
Well, I think I'd go back to what we started with, the umbrella.
Wow.
I will tell you two stories. One, I had a client. When I worked with her, she was still in school at Miami. He was 5 years older. He was out of the military, so he was not in school. He was working. And so she was, usually one of the two in a couple is the one who, you're speaking with. So I was talking with her. Young girl, she got it. I talked about umbrella. They were buying their first house. They bought the umbrella, and I want to say it was 2 years or 3 years in. The husband was driving back roads, wet, rainy, dark, didn't know the roads. His best friend was in the front seat. Best friend did not have his seatbelt on. Client lost control. Best friend died.
Wow.
The family sued. The best friend's family sued my client.
Wow.
It took 2 years to settle. And it settled for, and this is more than 15 years ago, settled for $600,000. So again, the auto limit only had $250,000.
So they had to go after the house.
So that's why the umbrella paid the difference between the $250 and the $600. That's where that money came from. And it also paid for the 2 years worth of attorney bills that they would have had.
So no umbrella, then they would have lost their house and had to fork that up to cover the fees. Wow.
Something would have had to happen. Yep.
So if you could give a first-time home buyer a piece of advice, because, people who own homes, sometimes we get hard-headed, but anybody can use it, but what advice would you give them considering home insurance outside of the umbrella? I know that's what you're going to go back.
Yep.
What else could you tell them?
I think the biggest thing is find an agent that you sit down, that you learn to trust, that you get educated. And the more that you can make better decisions when you do own that house. From a maintenance standpoint, from the things. Example, we have a client who lives out by me, so I know what was going on. I watched this old farmhouse. He added on 600 square feet.
Right.
But he never called us, and we're calling him because I'm telling the staff, y'all need to call him because I know he's added square feet.
Right.
And we don't know about this. So therefore, finally the guy calls today. And so through the conversation,
Today of all days.
Yeah. Through the conversation, it turned out like we had to go back and redo his replacement cost. And if something would have happened yesterday.
With that storm?
Yep.
Woo. That's what I said, today of all days.
It would have been $128,000 underinsured. So again, I think that's the biggest thing for a first-time homeowner. Find a person that you trust or somebody who you get referred to. Set up a relationship, start a relationship with that person, get to know them so they can get to know you. It does matter. It does matter because let me just say that there are times when we as agents have to get, and fight sometimes for whatever that it might be. And I can ask for a favor the more that I know the person, the more that I understand what they've got going on. I can go to my carriers and say, this is the story. This is what happened.
Yeah. And I would like to add on that too. You want someone, Gene, I know you very well, who's going to be upfront, tell you the truth. And when you hear price doesn't matter, it's because this is what you get. The value is way further or greater than the dollar that you're looking at. And I would like to add on to that. So again, I appreciate you for coming. I appreciate the information that you've given us. How can people reach you?
You can call me. My best is my cell number is 513-237-3012. Or my email address is gene.mabry, which is Mabry, at onedigital.com.
So guys, listen, it's your favorite realtor, Dannel Shepard. You tuning into Your House is Key podcast and my special guest, G. Mabry at One Digital. Listen, get insured, stay insured, and make sure you renew every couple years.
Yeah.
No matter what the value of the house is. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Your favorite realtor, we out. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Your House is Key with Dannel Shepard. Each week, Dannel dives into essential tips, insider secrets, and expert advice to help you navigate the exciting journey of home ownership and home selling. From understanding market trends and finding the perfect neighborhood to even securing financing, staging your home, and closing the deal, there's only one guy that gets it done. Dannel Shepard, right here at yourhouseskey.com.